But he texted me, he's like, hey, are you happy with the difference you're making in the world? And I'm like, come on, man.
It's like, you didn't get the memo, you will get shot with blue pants. I think it's the most racist place like in America.
I literally like walked out in tears. It's been fun actually watching all the podcasts and seeing everybody get, exposed, their origin stories and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
For 4 years, this guy would say, he'd be like, well, I'm not from this industry. I'm not from this. I'm like, dude, it's been 4 years. You are from this industry.
He is. He definitely is now. I knew when I came here, the conversation led towards the industry. You have industry knowledge.
Yeah,
100%.
Guaranteed.
You won't find somebody that fights harder for this industry than that man right there.
Shazam.
He says he says the things that sometimes I won't. Like he comes with it. You know what I mean?
I get passionate. Yeah, I get passionate.
Let's go.
It's funny because I used to say I'm not from the industry, and that's probably a personal thing. It was my history is all in advertising and production and creativity and that kind of stuff. And when you work in advertising and marketing agencies, like the job literally is to learn 50 clients 1 foot deep. I got to know just enough about you in order to understand how to be creative and how to, play with it a little bit. But here, one of the things I loved coming here was I get to go 50 feet deep with one thing and really focus on it and see like, what can I unlock? And, so my trepidation early on was like that imposter syndrome, right? Not knowing, being like, okay, I'm supposed to be in this, but I don't know how to run a machine. I don't know how to touch the buttons. Or then you're around it enough, you start hearing stuff and you really start to figure out what it's all about. And for me, a lot of it was going to early IMTS and hearing you and hearing the passion, watching the videos and all that kind of stuff that I could really connect with what we're trying to do for the industry. Yeah. And that's a big thing.
And I always say with Dave too, you have such a great way, whether it's industry or not, you articulate things so well. And I'm like, man, when I first came here my first week, I'm like, I feel stupid talking around Dave. Like he just is rolling.
Dave is like Grammarly in human form.
It is. He's Grammarly in human form. That is absolutely.
He's always
Barry.
Completing me, and I'm just like, okay, Dave.
I just try to be good at
I'm just a salesman.
words.
Dave is just rolling over me right now.
You talk about IMTS, but it goes way back.
Oh yeah,
way back. So
Beyond.
When we first started working together, we contracted your company, 11D. And that was back in like 2013, 2014, somewhere in there, right? It was at the beginning, before we even had the first episode for the TV show. So we were filming the show and we were making it happen, but there were certain things that we couldn't do. And one was motion graphics. So like we wanted to see like, we're driving the truck and all of a sudden, boom, Titan American build and it blows up and wow, and so I heard like, oh, there's this company 11D that is like amazing. And so we started working with you guys and you guys did all the motion graphics for the TV show for multiple. You were at the season premiere at Autodesk back in the day
in San
Francisco, and so it's been quite the journey. Huh?
We had just come back actually. So the company actually did a lot of like work in entertainment and TV and video games and that kind of stuff, right? So we were high-end Photoshop, high-end motion graphics, and did a lot of the, as you know, the game covers for a lot of like AAA titles, what they call them. So like Mortal Kombat 11, all the Ubisoft games back in the day, and a lot of ad campaigns that everybody would be familiar with, that kind of stuff. And so we were actually down in LA at what they call the Key Art Awards, and we hopped a plane to come back for that premiere. So we made it just in time to San Francisco to go to the Autodesk thing. And man, I was blown away because we were doing the graphics for the show, but I truly didn't understand what it was all about yet, until I started seeing the show. And then I was like, okay, this is pretty interesting,
Yeah, and if you know good. Titan, when he was saying earlier, and then we see the Titan truck and boom, he is John Wick. He's the Matrix. He loves when things blow up and graphics like that. So
no, you can sell something through with an explosion really
exactly.
That's why he hired me, so he could see tools blow up.
He has not been disappointed.
The biggest thing with there's so many build shows and they're making cars and they're fabricating, but nobody had really done CNC machining on a high level,
right?
Like choppers making aluminum parts, and stuff, but like nobody had done it on a high level and really showed what industry was. Like people, you go to malls and they don't know what CNC is. Like nobody cares about manufacturing, and it's just because they don't see it. So the whole vision was to be spectacular, to be entertaining, to show like speedboats and race cars and all these things, and without CNC machining, none of it exists. And and the show is pretty cool because no matter who it is, no matter what like genre or like race team, it could be the best in the world, and you're their hero.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a race car, they don't have a plane, they don't have night vision goggles without CNC machines. Right. So it was kind of cool because you could just knock out so many different episodes. Each one is something different. And with that, we had all the crazy motion graphics, and even like we would go to Hawaii and film. You know, we were forced to.
No,
we were forced to.
Darn it,
It was my home island.
Yeah, right.
But then we would have like an end mill that would like over the island. You know what I mean? And they would make it and stuff. And yeah, super good.
Well,
super
what was
talented.
also impressive too, so to make us even feel like we were a little smaller on that scale, Dave, probably about 3 weeks in, sends his old 11D sizzle reel, if you will. And, you know, Stan Lee's on there and Marvel. And I'm like, who is this guy? Like, legend. He went way up on the trunk of the list about 8 times.
Yeah.
So if it was easy, I'd still have hair. Believe that.
Yeah. Right. No, I'm sure it wasn't. It's
when we first
amazing.
started working together.
Exactly. But the cool thing about this, what I love about the opportunity and being here and all that kind of stuff, and I'm sure you'll go into the story of how we met and all that, but the thing that I love is like this industry is truly the definition of left off the list. Like you see lists of kids go into the trades and do all this stuff, and what do they list? It's carpenter, electrician, plumber, and when you ask anybody on the street, give me a list of what they call the trades. They're going to go through those things, construction, all that kind of stuff, but they're never going to list machinists. They're never going to list machine shop or manufacturing because it's been so behind the scenes. And honestly, like we've talked about a lot, no matter what administration is in, we get sold out, to other
100%.
countries and stuff. So
100%.
Don't get me on a soapbox.
And people can't comprehend it. You look at all these different industries and they're amazing, but they kind of understand what it is.
Right.
You understand what a welder does.
Yep.
But a machinist steps in and there's a million different machines. There's a million different tools, like literal a million.
There is.
Coolants and work holding. And it is so vast.
We talk about it all the time, the variables. Yeah.
And people don't understand. Like they think that you just buy a machine and it just drops apart like a bag of chips,
They do.
And people not knowing what we do is a problem, even in like HR capacity, because they're like, why am I going to pay this machiner who just pushes a button? Yeah. And it's like, why am I going to pay him this big money when I got actual skilled engineers and stuff here?
Well,
and
you to get to that point, YouTube, we talk about it a little bit, right? Social media is kind of, but then it's really good for the stuff that we do. But when YouTube first started, kind of integrating what we do, maybe not necessarily on your level, these people were looking at machining and seeing some videos out there, and they were just, the content was terrible, and they really thought, oh, I put a piece of material in, I press a button, and look what comes out.
So easy.
Yeah, this must be no problem.
There's a lot of funny ones too that I love. It's like they take a chunk of material, set it on top of the chuck, close the door, then they open the door and the part's done. Yeah.
Exactly.
This is what I do. I just push the start button.
Exactly.
I just want to take a quick break. I want to look at that camera right there, and I want to say, if you're watching this on YouTube, on Titans of CNC podcast, then hit that subscribe button. That is the channel that we're dedicating to podcasts, to knowledge, to just give you all the knowledge. So the long form podcast will be on this channel. We need you to subscribe so you can help us make manufacturing machining famous in the world. And with that, we're right back.
Boom.
I just did that off the cuff.
Easy.
Boom, baby.
Didn't even feel that one.
I know, right?
And if you're on Titans of CNC, our regular CNC machining, then you're looking at a shorter clip, and the long form is at Titans of CNC podcast. So go check that out. That's where like the 50-minute, hour long, however long,
whatever we roll
is on there. You see everything. But on our regular channel, we're putting in smaller clips and stuff.
That was easy.
Super good.
Yeah, good
you
call.
Like
I love it.
Commercial right there. You know what I mean? Right on.
Improv.
But I think that it's important. Like, so we grew with the TV show, and we went through seasons, and we learned, and I truly learned. I'm trying to bring awareness to the trade. And I'm thinking, how do you touch all these people in their boxes? Like, how do you show them new ways to manufacture and new processes and all that? And it's like TV made sense. But as we started looking at and seeing there's a problem with education, as we started seeing all these other problems, and it truly wasn't helping in a way where it wasn't tangible. I couldn't see shops truly getting better because they're watching the TV show.
Right.
And as we transitioned to, social media, and as the Eagle went up on YouTube, and one of my guys is like, oh, it's got a million views. And I'm like, what? YouTube? What's YouTube? We have TV,
yeah. Right.
But as everything shifted and we saw it, and all of a sudden it was like, you know what? Everybody's doing this on a low level. Nobody's taking that top spot. Let's show real manufacturing. Let's show crazy techniques and make it so the biggest companies like Boeing and Lockheed and even schools and just mom and pops, everybody can watch our stuff and actually learn from it.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
Understanding our industry and understanding where we were going at that time and looking at it. We had done good with branding and art.
Yeah.
My wife, Gina, she's an amazing talent, and she graduated with a graphic design degree.
Yeah.
Right. And she did all of our artwork, the Eagles, all the different things early on from the beginning of the shop for a long time. And and I've always just been creative with my art. So I always was just different with the shop and everything. But as we got bigger, it came to a place, and it was all of a sudden, it was like, you know what? It's time to go to a higher level.
Yeah.
Are we competing on a state level, on a city level? No. We're here to compete globally and change the industry on a world stage. So we need to bring in and up our level of talent when it comes to certain things. And that was the design. That was the overall structure of just that creativity and stuff, where it was like, I wanted to be, we're on the camera, we're on the machines and stuff. So it's like, let's just take our design to the highest level. And that's when we thought, let's bring Dave in. You know what I mean? Let's go. I didn't know. I knew Dave had sold his company. He had traveled. He had done these, and he landed somewhere. We were still friends, but at that time we're no longer working together. Right. But it was like Matt Schilling that used to work for us. We both talked, and it was like, I wonder what Dave is doing. And then I literally texted you out of the blue, and I said, yo, Dave, want to meet at Starbucks, man? I got something I want to talk to you about, man.
Ooh.
And then remember that meeting?
Oh yeah. I remember it well, man. He texted me, and I'm working at an ad agency, right? So sold the company, went and ran kind of the creative services divisions of what was happening there in Northern California. And I met, again, amazing clients, all that kind of stuff. But he texted me, he's like, hey, are you happy with the difference you're making in the world? And I'm like, come on, man.
We talked about that in the last podcast.
How are you going to ask me that? No offense to the agency, but I'm trying to convince rich guys to go travel to Tahiti instead of San Diego. I'm not changing anybody's life here, Right. But yeah, when he said that, I was very intrigued, and I'm like, yeah, let's grab some coffee for sure. I don't drink coffee, but yeah, let's go grab some coffee.
Yeah.
No problem.
So I grabbed my coffee, and I sat down, I was waiting for him, and then he pulls up in a Porsche, and I was thinking, crap.
This
is going to be expensive, man.
Right.
Right. This is going to be expensive, but
so worth it.
Yeah, you're right.
But at the end of the day, no matter how small you are, you can dream big dreams, but you have to put the puzzle pieces together. And there's timing. You can't always afford it at the beginning. So you got to understand what your vision is, what your goal is, where you're going. And then you got to just put the pieces, understanding that, hey, this is good for now, but sooner or later, we're going to up it.
Exactly.
And that's what we've done with the whole company, has been like that, bringing the right pieces to the chessboard and playing chess on a global scale. But we had a great talk.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely great talk. And, Titan was able to share the vision for what's happening, not just in the industry, but then how the company was kind of transitioning from, this amazing manufacturer of like parts I can't even conceive for, rocket engines and stuff into this education piece. And I was super intrigued by it and impressed and all that kind of stuff. And so the more I heard about it, the more I was just like, yeah, I honestly went home and prayed about it and was like, I feel like I can really make a difference in what these guys are doing. Cause I looked at, websites, and all the design that had been done was very strong, but there has to be, for me to come into a place, there has to be an opportunity to actually change the game for them. And I feel like that opportunity was here, and Titan was willing to kind of give the reins over to talk about some of that kind of stuff. And yeah, we started, after I was hired and everything, started working on branding and how the thumbnails look and how the websites look and layout and all that kind of stuff. So it's been a good trip, and here we are.
Look at that. Here we are.
And then you accepted the job.
Right.
And
Clearly.
then you gave you 2 weeks, and a few days later, I called you and said, "Hey, you want to come to San Quintin Prison with us?"
Oh, were you on that?
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
So incredible.
Yeah,
Like,
crazy.
that opportunity was crazy because yes, it's before I started and all that kind of stuff. Hey, do you want to come and go to this prison with us? And I was like, all right. Sure, why not?
Not just the infamous prison,
It
the
is
most
San Quentin.
infamous.
Which I had heard of, living in
Yeah.
NorCal my whole life, but I'm not. I'm a pudgy white kid from suburbia. Like, I'm not been in trouble or fights or anything like
Folsom
that.
or San
So,
Quentin, yeah.
I knew
And
Folsom
then-
Prison
Homebred.
existed, but
And then he rolls up in blue pants. It's like, you didn't get the memo, you will get shot with
Yeah.
blue pants.
I had no clue. So we're
The
literally
blue
we're
pants.
halfway there from Sacramento to San Francisco, and I think you look back from driving or something, and you're like, "Are you wearing blue pants?" And I was like, "It's totally just caught off guard." Like,
You're like, yeah.
sure am. Is that a problem? Did Matt not give you the memo? He hadn't, but that's fine. We stopped at a Kmart or Walmart. I grabbed what I call my prison pants now. They're black, and
good on
we're able to keep moving. But
What's
Yeah,
the deal
so-
with blue pants?
Yeah, if something goes down and there's a riot, there's things going on, and there's like danger, any of the guests have to be in black.
Oh.
And blue is what the inmates
all wear blue
In-
jeans.
So when
Okay.
the gun's firing,
Yeah.
you
You don't want to be a target.
you don't
You
want to be a
the wrong
target.
color.
Yeah, exactly.
exactly.
So they
Ouch.
literally won't let you in the prison
Yeah.
if you have blue.
Yeah, I had no idea. So we were able to fix the pants situation real quick. But that honestly, like, all joking aside, that was one of the most powerful things that could have happened
I
kind of
can't even
early
imagine.
on and starting here is seeing everything that had been built there and then hearing from the guys who were behind bars just, in all these different situations from all these walks of life, every color, creed, age, all that kind of stuff. And they were in there. And for me, again, I don't have any connection to that world, but seeing it firsthand and walking around these guys where there's positive people, then there's the other guys on the yard who you can tell from a distance they're not a positive person. I'm not going to tell them that to their face.
You're right. Hey, excuse me, come over here.
You lack a little positivity, sir. Can I help you? Yeah. But hearing from these guys, with joy in their face, like an older black gentleman who was in there, and he was like, you probably know the name, I forget his name, but you're like, hey, how's it going? And he's like, oh man, I'm down. I had 800 years on my sentence. I'm down to 600 because of blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I'm blown away because he
Yes.
had such joy in that. And it
Yeah.
was like, I don't know if I could have that level of positivity being in a situation I intellectually know I'll never be out of.
Sure.
But then still finding a
Hope.
drive somewhere to have that hope and be like, if I can get from 800 down to 600, that means I can get down to 400. And if I can do that, then maybe there's a chance. And I'm just like, so to see that level of hope and then see the program and how these guys have been affected and hearing their stories, I literally like walked out in tears. And we had a couple
bet.
partners there too from Kennametal, and they were seeing it for the first time. And we were all, you cannot go to a situation like that, not just the prison, but the hope that was created. And seeing the history inside that place, right? The big mural on the cafeteria wall and all these different stories, because this place has been there forever. You can't walk out of there not changed and not like having this big emotional
I'm
piece.
telling you, if nobody has seen that episode, you've got to go to YouTube.
All 10 episodes.
We should link it.
They're on the Academy.
What
Yep.
was the one we just looked at though with the CTE?
That was just like a highlight.
a highlight.
Yeah.
Even just that, yeah. The 10 episodes, fantastic. But even the highlight, we had those ladies in here and Chris, the other gentleman in from CTE last week. And they hadn't seen it, but they were huge fans. One of them was like super fan, Karen Rivera. She was super, super fan. And we showed it to him in the conference room. and
Tears.
literally tears.
I believe it.
Welling up and coming down their eyes. And it is. It is an emotional thing. And you guys did a phenomenal job on that, showing what that was.
It was disappointing too, though. In a way with industry. Everybody in the industry, they want to see manufacturing rise. They hate that our work has been sold out. They hate that people don't understand what CNC machining is, and then for me, I come from that rough life, like I just came to a God place where he had like called me to go into this prison, and I'm a machinist, and they have a school that is a machine shop, and people, they don't really understand. These guys are getting out. A bunch of them are out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you teach them or you don't, they're getting out, and the prison system's getting paid $500 million for education just a year, just in California for 35 prisons, and they're babysitting these guys. They're not learning anything. So for me, I was just going in and I'm just saying, like, look, this is the craziest place. Like, you go to that yard. Yeah. What's not said is that is the most, how you say, like,
maximum.
Yeah,
security.
Just racist.
Violent, yeah.
I think it's the most racist place, like, in America.
Oh, yeah.
You literally get killed for, like, going to the wrong spot, the wrong bench. If you go in the wrong shot, like, they have all these showers, and there's 3 for white, 3 for black,
what
3 for, and literally, if you go in the wrong shower, they will kill you.
You don't come out.
Wow.
Like that is the truth. So we actually, in the show, we talk about crazy stuff, and yet we went in. And right next to the biggest death row in the country, we took these men and we taught them a skill. And they have kids outside. They have wives outside. And they're coming out. It's like we gave them a skill to actually use to get jobs. And they come out. They've gotten jobs. And yet there was so many critics from just machinists out there. Why aren't you teaching our kids, like people that didn't get in trouble? Like, why would you help these people? And it's like, man, there's all kinds of people with stories, and like, this is my path. And we were teaching kids too.
Right.
And most of these guys aren't teaching anybody, but they're quick to talk. Keyboard warriors.
Right. Criticism comes quick.
Keyboard warriors. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that was the craziest journey. And now there's 5 schools in the prison system in California, Titans of CNC, and it's spreading around the country. And then we open sourced it to all schools, and we have 3,500 schools registered, 200,000 students, all free.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And when I started,
how did you and I not meet before that? Because we did the machines were from Selway and gosh,
I was stuck in my office.
You were in the office.
Logos, bro.
Yeah, there you go. That's probably what it was.
That's what it was. Yeah. No, it's been a crazy trip, and coming out of that, coming from the prison again, I hadn't even started yet, right? So I'm still pre-work here, and then I have the whole couple-hour drive home to just like think about this thing and be like, wow, this is not even what I thought it was. This is so much bigger than that. And then starting then a couple weeks later, and then my first next foray into kind of what this whole world is was Titan took a few of us to IMTS in 2018. And so I got to see, I saw this massive, number one, a massive schedule for poor Titan.
Right.
So we ran him ragged that time. Like Kennametal had him at the booth for, 3 times a day with actual speeches, and like we're running around all different places. And because of that, I'm getting there, and I don't know. We know each other, but I don't know what he's done in the industry.
Sure.
So I'm seeing all this stuff firsthand where he's got business owners coming up to him in tears, literally like, you saved my business. You turned my family around. I can now provide for my kids, and I got my kids back, and there was this issue in our life and personal stuff and like all these different things. And business is personal. I'm a true believer. There is no B2B or B2C. It's human to human contact. That this is how these things happen.
Especially in this industry. This industry, kind of breeds that. It is a very personalized relationship that you have with your teammates, the people that come in and call on you. I don't care if it's tooling guys, machine tool guys, coolant guy, everybody. It is. It's a very, very close knit industry.
And it's awesome. A very, very small world.
Yes, it is.
Right.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and we were walking between these different appearances and all that kind of stuff, and it's not that you couldn't even make it 5 minutes walking. You couldn't make it 5 feet without a group of people coming up, like a shop owner. Oh my God, is that Titan? Let me get a picture. a group of kids that are there with the school, 25, 35 kids coming up like, oh my gosh, let's do a boom.
Wow.
All that kind of stuff. You're walking down the hallway and the one little stretch you get where you do make it 20 feet, and there's guys like Titan, all this kind of stuff. So it's just like, there's this element of celebrity, but then it's mixed with kind of a humble recipient of that, thankfully.
Yeah, right.
And then you have this like overwhelming drive to continue doing well for this industry. And I think for me, that was the big thing is I felt extremely blessed to be able to go to that and have that firsthand experience. And I know that as we kept growing the team, and even with the team we have now, like even this last year, like flew everybody over, like the entire team needs to see this and experience what this industry is, because if you're just stuck behind a desk editing videos, and our editors are amazing, they do phenomenal work telling these stories and, editing in your crashes, but editing out most people's crashes.
Barry will never live it down.
Man. They do such a good job with the storytelling and capturing everything and all of the data management, everything that goes on behind the scenes, but they can very easily become disconnected from the actual reaction to what video goes out. And so for them to see it firsthand, I thought was just incredible and a good opportunity.
And that's a lot of money, you know? And what happened was we actually went to IMTS and I took all the machinists, and then there was a couple other people. But as soon as we got there, people were just lining up, and anytime you'd stop, a crowd would come around you, and people were just telling these stories. You had so many young guys in their 20s, and they're like, I learned from you, and I met you in 2018 or 2019. And I had 4 machines. Today I have 40 machines.
Yeah.
I have 60 employees.
Man.
It was everywhere. It's kind of like maturity.
Right.
We had been doing it for so long that all of a sudden, before it was always like, oh, I got in the trade. I found you on YouTube and I went on the academy and now I got a job, and I used to be this, I used to be that, but now I'm a machinist, and it's like great. But then now with the maturity of just how long we've been in the industry, like just serving it, now it's like
you're seeing the growth.
After shop owner after shop owner just showing you their parts and showing this, and each one has this crazy story. I was an airline pilot for Trump. And then now I got a machine shop because I saw one of your videos one day.
Oh, yeah. That's great. Yeah. I haven't heard that one. Yeah. That's fantastic.
What I think is awesome about seeing that stuff at like IMTS is our industry has so many like talking heads, and they all sit there and say how, I got this whatever podcast or, but none of them actually do anything for the industry. They don't do anything for all the people out there. And that's evident at that show, because you see some of these talking heads walking around there and nobody even pays them any attention. Yeah. But like you said, Titan, he can't walk 5 steps.
Right.
So that says something about
if you had Trump's pilot, why don't we have Trump? Don't you have a connect? We could get him on here instead of Barry or Jesse. Come on,
man. Look, roll there,
nice. Thanks for not throwing me under the bus.
I was almost going to say Dave because you're your first one, but that would be too harsh right off the bat.
Well, the way we're teaching manufacturing is making manufacturing great, which makes our country great. So it's absolutely all in alignment right there. But what I was trying to say is that because of the crazy stories that we got on the first day, I literally looked at Brandon. Brandon's amazing, by the way, behind the scenes. We'll get him one day.
Oh, yeah. Drag him kicking and screaming.
I was like, we should get all the media guys. Get all the media guys. That not everyone like really understands the industry, and they're editing the videos, they're filming the videos, and we're saying that it's making change, but they need to come here. So we flew out another like 7 or something, because it was like last minute, like tonight, like
get we'll come right,
like literally right now. Not everybody could come, but we ended up with 15.
Right.
Wow.
And we had 15 guys, and they got to experience it.
That's bad. Yeah. That's awesome.
You know what I mean?
Talk about opening their eyes and bonding our team together.
For
to
sure.
all be able to be there at the same time and not have, a group that went and a massive group that didn't go, and you guys are trying to tell them how great it was and all these stories, and they're like, yeah, whatever. And this is not just like, you didn't put any qualifications on it. You don't have to have worked here for a year.
Yeah,
there was guys who were here for a couple of weeks and guys who were here for a year plus. And it's like, everybody come and experience this. Yeah. And even some of our more quiet, team members and stuff were like, they came and they got to see the excitement of it all.
Yeah. I always say too, for every shop I called on, if you're in industry, you have to go to that show. You have to. It's amazing. what you see, and it's machines. Yes, and you're going to see everything from, desktop to 5-axis to large horizontals, but, everything that you see there, if you're in industry, it's like a kid in a candy store. It's phenomenal. So that's amazing you did that, because it shines a light on what we and Barry and everybody does every day.
So, the thing that I think about a lot lately, though, is that, as fun as those trade shows can be and as important it is for, like, making person-to-person connections, like, I really don't understand why those shows even still go on. Because you have channels like us, you could pay millions of dollars for a booth at a show and 5,000 people might come see it. But then you have, the internet and social media where millions. Of people will see it.
And you're running Incana, you're running titanium, you're showing
pushing
crazy
the
tool
machines.
bats and doing all that.
I think there's a definite shift happening. It's just like a lot of the companies in this industry are old catalog companies. Like they had to make the switch from catalog to web. And a lot of them did it poorly. Some of them did it well. I think we're seeing the same thing in kind of the trade show world. It used to be you had to go to a trade show to get the information, to understand the breadth of what's out there. And then you were going to make your decision either at the show based on whatever special they had.
Totally.
Or that was where you're doing the majority of your research. Now people are researching ahead of time online. They know 80, 95%. What they're going to buy, and they're kind of just going, either their company pays them to go and it's a fun party, or
right.
To see the guys that they missed or do whatever.
They will never listen to a sales guy. They'll get information, but they're going to go
easy.
Oh man. But you're our sales guy.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they've seen the materials run. They've seen the tools run. They know it, but that's the whole point at IMTS. Like, you're not seeing anything run. You can't
a lot of
feel
dry
the
running
machine and hear that cut and really see if the machine's going to labor or not, So it's like now you can just talk to machinists all over the world. Everybody's connected. You can go into groups and say, hey, what do you think about this machine? What do you think about
100%.
that? What do you think about the work holding?
Yeah.
And it's all changing.
And what do? They cut aluminum generally at shows. You rarely see steel. You rarely see anything exotic, but it's aluminum.
First time I ran a Doosan was at IMTS 2018.
No way.
And we were running Incana. I was like, if we're gonna run something, let's run something legit. So we actually did a big Titan 1M and made it out of Incana.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
The Klein Tools booth, thread milled it in front of everyone, and it shows. Like, look, that's like 4 times faster than anybody. It's right there live at a show.
Throwing blue chips.
Let's go.
Yeah, it was incredible. It's been fun to see kind of how that whole industry has shifted, and I think you see it with communication kind of across the board in all industries, right?
Oh,
Social
totally.
media is huge, for better, for worse, for better and for worse.
In
a lot of ways.
Yep.
But that access to information and access to be able to, do that research ahead of time has never been like it is today.
Right.
And companies that are not at the forefront of that are falling behind quicker and quicker. Like, there's never been a time when so many people are talking about manufacturing online.
Yeah.
And if you're not one of those voices, you're behind. Obviously, we have a great, an amazing platform through all that has been built. And we're just making it stronger. I mean, now we have CNC Expert, right? Platform that is social media. It's, LinkedIn, it's Indeed, it's all these different things, Facebook and all that, for machinists and for this industry. It's just incredible what people can get out there.
There's a story I've told Titan. I think I've told you guys too. And it was similar when you got the call from Titan about, hey, you need to come down and see what we're doing here. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm on autopilot. I'm selling. And I had this customer up in Reno, and I sold him like 23 Matsura MAM 35Vs, and about halfway through those, he calls me up and he's like, hey, Keith, this great friend of mine, Phil Linscheid, he's awesome, director of this company up in Reno, and he says, come up here. I need to talk to you about Matsura and kind of give you some crap. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, come on up, we'll have lunch. So I go up there, we have lunch, and he's like, listen, you got to understand, I have engineers. They're all in their 20s. They're young guys that don't want to talk to a salesman.
Right.
And he's right. And I said, you're preaching to the choir. He goes, they want to find their information and their content online. He goes, and then they'll kind of take it from there as to if you maybe get a call or not. And he's 100% right. My sales cycle changed immensely over the last 5 to 7 years. And so I brought the president of Matsura, Dave Hudson, in at the time and told him, and he basically said the same thing. He goes, yeah, we need to do a better job. But that's what the difference is those people, they've made their decision. 80% of it's done before that salesman comes through the door these days. 100%.
That's why it surprises me that there's still so many salespeople out there, because when I go to buy something, the first thing I do is go and look to see somebody using it.
Yeah.
Then I see, what other people say about that product that have used it in community.
Yep.
Then if I want to buy it, I go to get a price. And that's the only thing I need from the sales guy is the price.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's interesting, right? Because we're so used to the old sales cycle, like you, right?
Yeah.
Not saying you're old or
easy. Yeah, right. I do have some grays.
Young,
yeah.
but the old way is you walk in the front door if they let you in.
Yeah, if they let you in.
The front door is the way to their eyeballs or to their ears. Now the way to their eyeballs or ears is social media.
Yep.
And so many companies that we've seen in the industry are doing it wrong or just not doing it at all. They've tried some social media. They hired the 16-year-old kid or the 22-year-old girl, and they have this person in there who's trying to do these things, but maybe they tried all, Facebook, LinkedIn, all these different things, and they got a little bit of traction on Facebook. Then they stopped doing the others.
Yep.
Because, those don't work.
Yep.
Right? Clearly. So we're just going to do Facebook, and then that Facebook gets burnt out because they're just putting the same thing over and over and not reinventing themselves. Yep. And so what we believe truly is it's our job. The way that you can get in front of people's eyes and really get them interested in this industry is by being where they already are.
Yeah.
I don't need them to come to me. I need to be where they're already looking. And so for guys and, folks in industry who are older, the old white heads or no hairs, right? They're sitting there going like, well, I'm on LinkedIn, so we should focus on LinkedIn. That's not where business is happening. Nope. Yeah, some of it. Sure. You need to be on LinkedIn, but you also need to be on Instagram.
Yep.
You also need to be on TikTok.
Yeah.
People don't understand that. Yeah. Like, if you're talking to this next generation, you need to be where that generation is consuming entertainment, talking to friends, having community.
Yep.
For older folks like us, it's Facebook a lot of the time. If we're looking at videos on YouTube, but cannot
there's
just
old people
stick
on
to
TikTok
one.
too.
True.
Yeah. they're in the bathroom
creepers.
taking that break. Like they're like this, taking the break.
That's right.
It is. No, and that's where it is. That's where it comes from. And you're right. If you're not connected to that, you're way behind the curve. Yep.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of effort to do it right, honestly,
How many compliments have we got on the videos themselves and how they're just edited so well and so well done. They're great.
That was also part of like the whole God path, man, because we came from TV. Everybody came and grabbed GoPros and they were like, okay, we're going to go to YouTube. Mm-hmm. We came from TV. I looked at, one of my early mentors was John Walsh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I remember
I was like, dude, you could have been hunting me and now we're like partners, man,
America's Most Wanted.
So good. So good.
That's right.
But he loved the vision and all of it. And he was actually connected to it at the beginning. And then he lost his show. He had to like focus on it. So he just gave me some good advice to kind of move on, man. But at the end of the day, when I first started, I'm a manufacturer, right? So when I first started, like they're charging, $40,000 or $30,000 for sound equipment a month. They're charging all of these fees and stuff. And then after like the first season, I was like, how much does audio, like a really good system, cost? And it's like about $48,000. So I was like,
easy.
I was like, how about we just hire our own sound guy, teach them how to use the equipment, find somebody super solid. And then we just started building the team. And then looking at all these guys, the camera people would charge so much money. But they're only working 30% of their lives.
Sure.
So they need to make all that money.
Right.
So it's like, hey, I'll give you something sustainable, like daily, and hire you full time, like at this rate, and then you have that comfort.
Genius.
Yep.
Yeah.
Genius.
And so we brought filming in house, and we developed our style. And I wasn't a film guy, but I'm an artist.
Right.
So I had you couldn't have a producer for a TV show like that because they want to come in and actually go into a CNC machine and they just want it all to be done and perfect in like a couple hours. And you're like, no, it's going to take a week to set up. There's time involved in doing these projects and stuff. So they'd always come to me and I would kind of lay out what the story would be and what the timeline was and stuff like that. But that's the whole point. It's like we started with TV, and then we went from like doing this, and then we brought it to YouTube. So like when you look at the art of filmmaking, that's why people trip on, but they don't really understand where we came from.
Right.
Everybody's coming up here, and we actually came down onto this platform because we saw it. This is the new big thing.
What was that company? I think I remember they came to you, and I think maybe this is what kicked off everything. Sandmaster or Sandcastle designer.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
and
they
wanted you to do some big piece of billet aluminum for their opening shot or something, right? And I remember you said, and then you're like, they were with Discovery? What?
Yeah, so I gotten, it's a big story. It's like after 08, 09, it's like, you know, I laid off 40 employees. I just kind of rebuilt the company and hired people back. I got an opportunity to go to Pennsylvania and speak at this huge conference, and I literally came back. Like when I spoke at the conference, there were like lines of people in tears. It was crazy. And they're all like, where are you going to speak next? Like, where are you going to speak? And I was like, I'm going back to my shop. I'm going back to my shop.
This ain't my job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm going to go back to my shop and run it. You know, this isn't what I do. I did this because they read the Wall Street Journal article.
That's right.
And wanted me to go do the thing for the parole board, the parole department for Pennsylvania. But when I got back, I actually was at my desk. When I was coming back, I was just like, I know that like God's going to do something. Like there's something's going to happen. Like I just was coming back, and I was like, there's no way that just happened right there. And it's just going to stop. Something is going to happen. I didn't think about TV. It wasn't even a thought. And then I came back, and I literally first day I sat at my desk, and then the phone rings, and then they're like, oh, this guy Patrick's on the phone. And then I get on the phone, and he's like, hey, this is Patrick from the Discovery Channel.
Right.
And I was like, oh, you call the job shop owner, American job shop owner that used to be homeless, that went to prison, who built the greatest job shop in America? He's like, What? No, I just need a part.
Yeah.
He's like, I just need a part. We're doing this show and we have this part we're going to put in the sand, and we need the water to kind of wash up. It's going to be a metal, thing. And I was just like, dude. But I went home that night, and I told Gina, I said, out of thousands of shops,
He picked you.
This guy picked me.
Crazy.
He called us. And something's going to happen. I'm like, we're going to have a TV show. And that was the seed.
Yeah.
I never knew how hard it was going to be. And we ended up not working with Discovery. We ended up going to a smaller network, Mav TV. But they gave me ownership of the show, which allowed us, like right now, you were talking about the whole prison series.
Yeah.
It's on Titan TV on our academy. So you just go to our academy, academy.titansofcnc or cnc.com. Then you literally see Titan TV. You can watch all the episodes because we owned it.
Got it.
Yeah. It's a huge deal. It never happens.
Yeah. What if that wasn't your property now? Where would it be?
Right.
So when we built the curriculum in the prison and we did all that, when that whole series was done, we had this curriculum that everyone was like, this is the greatest curriculum ever built. Like, this is amazing. And then all of a sudden, again, one day I woke up in the morning and like God just spoke to me, and I realized I have 3 seasons of the TV show. I have just terabytes and terabytes of machine. Like, these billion-dollar companies are hiring film crews to try to get content, yet nobody in the world has more content than me, because we're the only ones that has ever filmed for 10 years CNC machining and just kept all this stuff. And I was like, let's just take all of it, wrap it up. I went to work. I said, hey, talk to the team. We're going to take all of it. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to put it online. We're going to make this academy. You're going to have like the TV shows. You're going to have all this stuff. And you just instant content.
Yep. Incredible.
Yep.
Instant content. And that's how it happened. But I also want to just say something. Everything that just took place basically just proved me right that I actually hired the right guy, because when everybody's like they're watching and he's over here fighting and explaining everything, he even forgot we were talking about hiring and like the whole creativity part and stuff that.
That's
so
right.
Not only if you look at Aerospace Academy, you see the art and stuff, and you see Dave's fingerprint on that. You know, one thing I respect about him is, like, I'm an artist. He's a great artist also. And sometimes you clash.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he always comes to me and he always asks my opinion on things. And sometimes I agree and sometimes I disagree. But if he feels strongly, like, he will come back on me and we'll go back and forth and stuff. But he listens to me. And by the time we come out with it, he's taken my original thought to greatness.
Yeah.
Like, he's taking it somewhere. That's not what I was thinking, but that's way better. It's way better. You know what I mean? And like the space theme that you see in the Grinding Academy and Aerospace, a lot of people would go in a different direction. And he's coming with like 6 different designs. We can go in all these different, it looks like Tron. It looks like, you know, NASA.
Cool.
It looks
so
like
cool.
Whatever, you know, and then we're making decisions on what the look is going to be.
Yeah.
And that's how serious this is. There's
Yes.
like he puts a huge amount of work in all these different things after we get it. But I've always been like, I worked so hard to get in with SpaceX and Blue Origin and Boeing and Lockheed and all these companies, and I see it as like for us, if you can machine that,
Yeah.
everything falls underneath.
100%.
You can machine everything else. So
100%.
when other people might not think that the aerospace theme is like good or high level or whatever, I do, because that's where we come from. That's what we
100%.
fought for,
Yep.
you know? So I think we've had times where it's like, with the Grinding Academy, let's go in a different direction. But then it's like, no, let's be different about it, but
Right.
let's stay in that same lane.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I appreciate all that. It's definitely, you know, aerospace is the pinnacle of the industry, and it's aspirational for so many companies out there. They want to get the right certifications. They want to meet the right people, go to the right, you know, dinners and events and all that kind of stuff to kind of get into that club. And when we start to showcase how you do that, step by step, literally like taking opening the doors to what is a hidden industry in a lot of ways.
Very difficult.
Very difficult.
The
Yeah.
most difficult.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can't just walk in and there's 90% of these shops out there just are running aluminum and they're doing a great job, but they're just trying to keep the doors open. They're just trying to keep people employed. And, you know, the owners are there with big aspirations and big dreams, or they've been beaten down and those dreams are gone. And like, that's the opportunity we have to show them that it is possible. It's attainable. You can do it. And here's encouragement to do those things. So yeah, I take it seriously, man, when it comes to design. And that comes from my background, honestly. Like, I feel like before we can just you don't just jump into Photoshop and make a logo. You don't just jump into Illustrator and do those kind of things. You have to know the aesthetic, the target, what your goals are, what do you want people to feel from this. And a lot of that sounds like ethereal, like BS, right? But truly,
true.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
You know, when I was doing video game covers, I don't get a piece of art from the company that says, hey, this is kind of what we want it to look like. Can you go make that for us?
You got to imagine it.
What I get is a 45 to 80 page booklet from marketing with a couple screenshots and a lot of information about the target audience. Hey, this is the type of gamer we're after. These are the types of gamers we're after. These are the markets it's going to be sold in. Here's what happened previously in the other iterations of this game. I have to take all that and then develop a look and feel, right? So we go through sketches, we go through a process, just like you guys do on the manufacturing side. There is a process to unlocking the creativity that is hidden within this document somewhere. Same thing with blueprints. There's creativity in what you guys do because it's, how am I going to hold it? How am I going to fixture it? What machine am I going to use?
100%.
What's the torque and spindle speed and all this different stuff that I have to know my machine can handle it even before I get the job.
I still laugh every time I hear the salesman and the graphic design guy talking about machining so eloquently. It's like, you could convince me you were a machinist.
You know, it's
push
crazy.
the buttons.
Yeah, it's crazy though. I've had a lot of people that work for me, and when you bring in leaders that don't machine, machinists don't follow.
No.
They don't, you know, and I've tried to hire like right under, and I end up just like leading it because it just doesn't work, you know. And if I do put somebody that doesn't know how to machine and I'm off doing something else, it just doesn't work.
Agreed.
So I've learned and
seen that.
What is a blessing is that I can look at a 4th generation machinist and I know that Barry has respect for Dave. And I know that Dave has respect for Barry.
Absolutely.
And vice versa over here and stuff. And what is truly awesome is that early on, Dave used to own his own company. I think Dave will tell you that being the owner of the company, doing the payroll, doing all of it, it isn't exactly what he feels that he was perfect at, you know, but he's a leader. So he went to a big company and he was like very high, but there was things in the company that he didn't have control over, and there weren't discussions, there weren't different things. So one thing I did early on is I recognized Dave's talent. And then I was sincere with Dave and I said, look, you know, I'm bringing you in for, you know, this creative spot. What was the original
job title?
It was like director of brand and creative operations. Very long.
Yeah,
Sounds
absolutely.
amazing. I design stuff.
Yeah.
Mouthful.
And I said, just because you're not CEO or, you know, just on that, I told him, I was like, I respect you so much. Like, I'm going to bring you into every top level to conversation and bring you in because I want to know what you think. I want a sounding board. I want to surround myself with great men. So it's just not a me thing. It's the best of accumulative ideas and stuff like that. And
very good.
We've done that.
Yeah.
For years.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And
100%.
I appreciate it too, because that's, you know, there's, as anybody out there who's listening knows, like if you have great ideas in your company, whatever it is, whatever industry, this industry, something else, if you have great ideas, but they're not listened to, they're not heard, there's no opportunity to get those things out, you will start to die inside. You'll start to feel like
100%.
You start to feel like, you know, not only do they not know what my ideas are, but they don't even give a crap.
Yeah.
They don't want to know.
Yeah.
They don't think I'm valuable enough to have a voice. And so, yeah, when I went to that other company, you know, there was a leadership mentality to it, but there was, you know, so many behind the scenes different things happening. And so I'd be going off in one direction for 3 weeks, and then I'd hear from one of the leaders like, oh, we scrapped that. I'm like, well, you guys got to let me know this kind of stuff.
Surprise.
Appreciate that.
It's been great, you know, being involved in all of those discussions, because now, I mean, we have amazing partners, we have amazing fans, amazing community. Our employees are incredible. Everybody truly is like family. Every one of those groups is like family. We're not trying to get over on any one group. We're not, you know, robbing from these guys to pay those guys. Everything is so on point that, you know, there's this, I don't even know what to call it, of how everybody is working together in that. And it just feels like almost like Bruce Lee, right? When you're in the flow, everything runs smooth. You
like
ride
water,
the wave.
man.
Exactly.
Water.
That's what it's like.
Exactly.
And what book are you reading?
So the book I'm reading, and I'm 100% love this book.
Wait, stop. That sounds like I set this up because he's so ready for it.
You totally
We weren't even going to talk about this. But one thing that I love
geeked out on
is one thing I love about Dave is like, I tell people like there's a lot of things I don't find in this industry. I get inspired by going to hotels.
Yep.
I get inspired by going to crazy nice restaurants and watching how they serve and different things. And that's something that we've been talking about. It's like our team, our machinists, everyone, they're built here. They're here to serve our industry and anybody who comes into the shop.
Yep.
So Dave was just telling us about this book that he's reading, which I'm going to start reading.
Yes.
And it sounds awesome.
Yeah, highly recommend it to everybody out there. So the way that, before I tell you what it is, the way that I read, like I don't read. I can read. I don't like to just sit there with a book and like turn pages. That nothing bores me more than that. But listening on my way to and from work, listening to these audiobooks and really getting into it. And if you're an audio type person, that's what I'd recommend. If you're visual and you want to like get in there and make notes, then do that. But my way of reading is I do like a couple business books, and then I'll do like a fun fiction book. Like the last one was like pirate, you know, the story of like these different pirates taking over the Caribbean and crap. Not Pirates of the Caribbean. The one I'm reading right now that I just finished is called Unreasonable Hospitality. And it's so friggin' good. Like I look through these lists of audiobooks to see like what is going to be a topic that I'm interested in. And a lot of times it's just I literally judge a book by its cover, right? What does the title look like? Give me a little audio snippet. Can I stand the guy's voice who's reading it? This one is written from the perspective of one of the owners and founders of 11 Madison Park, which is an incredible New York restaurant, right? So it's in the food industry. It's in the foodie kind of style. And these guys went from a 1 to 2 star restaurant per the New York Times to a 4-star fine dining establishment by continually changing themselves and challenging themselves to new heights. No Michelin stars, up to 3 Michelin stars.
Wow.
Like number 50
Crazy.
on the top 50 list to number 1 on the top 50 list. And the guy goes through what they went through, what the mentalities were in the restaurant, how he had to hire and change his staff and get them all to be on the same page as they went through different iterations of this restaurant. And the business concepts in there are applicable across the board to all
regardless of what industry. Yeah,
because
that's
when he's
great.
talking about unreasonable hospitality, he's not talking about being excellent. Being excellent is the price of admission. That's what it costs to get somebody to come in the restaurant.
Yeah.
I want my silverware to be clean. I want the dish to be clean. The thing should be plated right. But the unreasonable side of things is, are you listening for what's going to make that guest's experience above and beyond? Somebody in his mind, somebody has chosen, a lot of times for 11 Madison Park, they've chosen to start their trip or end their trip with that as their experience.
Crazy.
And he takes that very heavily. He says, if that's what they're going to do, I'm going to give them something they can't get anywhere else. And throughout the book, there's just incredible story after incredible story. A couple of them, I was literally in my car, like on the freeway, driving, and I'm like laughing and clapping, like, yes, it's amazing. That's what I would do. It's so good. And just kind of the ways that he goes through what they went through, but also talks about when he failed as a leader. So, hey, I had this guy who came in, I didn't address something with him right away, and it festered in my mind.
Yeah.
And then that caused me to act out this way, and what I would have done, what I should have done. And then here's how I've changed that moving forward. Here's how
Very
I trust
cool.
the people that are in the organization.
Yeah, very nice.
Super solid.
Yeah, very cool.
Unreasonable hospitality, highly recommended.
We
Maybe
should
we'll
get
put a link in.
sponsored by that book.
I know.
Yeah, right?
Come on,
Exactly.
bro.
Shout out.
But I think that people can see now through this discussion that not only did I make the right choice in grabbing you and meeting you at Starbucks, but you've truly like grown with the company. And I remember even during COVID, it's like you just became a leader. Like I didn't come in saying, hey, you need to lead the guys. You just started leading the guys, and the guys started following you. And there were times where like I needed to say something, or I said a certain amount, and then I didn't want to like go all the way, and then you'll come right along and be like boom, boom, boom. And I always loved having that kind of backup.
Yeah.
There's somebody here that understands how hard it is to make payroll. There's
Yeah.
somebody here that actually understands like what it is to be a business owner and stuff. And even during COVID, when I had to let everyone go and basically shut it all down, but I couldn't stop working.
Right.
So I would come in by myself, and I'd come in and do it, and my sons would both come in and stuff, and like we gotta just film and make videos and do these things, and
Crazy.
like our partners would have, the salesmen are just home sleeping.
Yeah.
They can't do anything.
Yep.
So it's like, let's go put their products in front of people. Let's do this. Let's do that. But I'd go in
There were
and
some
not even
salesmen
know.
working.
Yeah, I would go in, and then Dave would be there working, and he's like, hey, stuff has to get done. We
gotta do it.
Good on you.
Stuff has to get
can't
done,
stop.
and we'd be safe. We'd take care of ourselves, but
Right.
at the same time, I appreciated that. And then when we moved to Texas and took that big move, and he was with us the whole time, but he had a beautiful house, and he's got 4 horses, and the dogs and all the stuff, and he just couldn't make it out here. But when I got out here, I realized, man, without Dave being way over there, I'm struggling.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I just can't do everything right here. And
Right.
like Brandon like stepped up in a huge way, and he was, helping with the media and the camera and the this and the that. But then just running the overall business and trying to be on camera and all of it, I was struggling and stuff. So like the Godfather, like I did with you, Keith,
Yeah, man.
and I did with Barry. I made him an offer he couldn't refuse, and then all of a sudden,
Boom.
boom, he's here.
That's right.
He's here.
Yeah.
I think it's funny, me and several machinists have talked a lot about how nice it would be to go to, take the best guy from every shop we've ever been in and build a shop out of that. But how do you do that as a shop that's just starting out? Right. You can't hire all of the best people.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool to see, where Titan is at. He's been able to do that. And, he didn't build it all at once, but almost.
Yeah.
So,
we were talking to Trevor and his story, and it was crazy. And before that, we were talking to Donnie and his story, and you, and we have so many like amazing things like to put out there and stuff. But through it all, it's lives, and I'm just blessed to be surrounded by great men and women.
Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt.
Just men and women, and people that I just trust with my life. And I was filming and took my wife and filmed at all these places throughout Europe, and I was gone literally for a month. And it was the first time where I'm like, they got it.
Yep.
Yeah.
They got it.
Yeah. No
All
issues.
good.
Oh yeah.
Super good, man.
No, the team ran super smooth. I think everybody, when there's an absence like that and we can prepare for it, like the team runs super smooth. Everybody steps up. Literally everybody was on point that entire month and ever since. And, for me, going back to, coming here from California and all that kind of stuff, it was a big change, obviously. But what I loved getting back to, I'm not built for COVID life, man.
No,
I'm not built to be
nobody
remote in an office with just my dogs staring at me like they're the worst coworkers ever.
Just
make me want to take naps all day.
Right.
But I was very productive during that time. Got a lot done. But not being around people, like that's I think one of my biggest strengths.
100%.
Anybody can do contracts. People design better than me. People make more beautiful art than I will ever make. But I feel like what I'm called to do.
I haven't seen many. Oh man,
there's two or three.
Telling you. Yeah, right.
What I'm called to do truly is to feed into people's lives and to help them. I've always told everybody that has worked with me, I'm here to help you unlock what you don't even know you're capable of yet. So when folks come in and they're having a rough day, or being able to feed into them, be like, hey, here's how we can do these different things. Here's how you take it to the next level, like you're talking about, right? Because it's all about levels. You may not be capable of that today, but you are capable of it.
100%.
If any human being can do it, you can also do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And not just with those platitudes, but also giving them like strategy. Hey, here's how you approach this. Here's how you approach that. So that's what I'm trying to do here. That's the legacy I'm trying to leave, is truly just like, everybody is better for having me in their life. Unlock that a little bit.
Dude, you just sounded like Trevor a little bit.
Yep.
That was.
We got the same haircut.
right there.
Man.
Trevor.
We almost have the same haircut.
Yeah, pretty
But
close.
yeah, I mean, it's just like putting out the videos. You got to bring value to people's lives, and you got to put service above everything. And looking at, just looking at the path and knowing that we have a company founded on the principles of service, serving the company, the country, the world that we love. I mean, what an honor in that. And I look over here at Barry, and Barry is a leader. Like, he's a top
Absolutely.
leader. And then I look at you, leader. Everybody knows it. Look at you, leader.
Back at you.
I'm just blessed to have all you guys around me and stuff like that. And
right back at you.
yeah, super good.
How do we do the group hug in this format?
Yeah,
Well,
right.
you know what? This made me wonder something. We all know what our team looks like now.
Oh.
But I've never heard about your first full-time employee.
My first full-time employee?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what did you hire for first? That just made me wonder.
That'd be Jeff.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
Hello.
Back
I
in the
know. That's a great one, but like, let's leave that for the
yeah.
next,
It
next
just
podcast.
made
yeah.
me curious.
I know, but I think we're good. That was
Love it.
awesome,
That was
man.
fantastic.
Killer.
Boom.
Dave's
Thanks for
a rock
Dave
star.
in the house.
The articulate brain of the background.
I'm good at words.
Love it. Yes. Very.
His brain is so like, that his hair just literally ran away.
Yeah, it's like we can't handle the pressure anymore.
We can't hang here
Exactly.
We're like, too much is going on here. Like, we're gone.
That's right. That's exactly right.
God bless you.
Worldwide manufacturing, CNC machining is king. Boom. Let's
Love
go.
it. Love
Thank
it.
you
Lift
guys.
the industry, baby.
Boom, boom.
Come on.
Crushing it.
We're out.
Out.